Hi, it's Tina Campbell, the New York Regional Partner. We're here for the New York region of Master Networks, Lunch and Learn. Hi, Theresa.
Hello, Tina.
And today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be helping other people in our region and beyond to pivot during this time. I'm hoping that, together we'll relay tips and techniques and tactics for really transitioning to this new norm. So, welcome.
Hey, Tina. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me on. I'm like really excited to do this. And I
Me
don't know
too.
about you, but I've been feeling really out of sorts. So one of the ways I can get myself re-centered and re-grounded is to help other people. And
Excellent.
right now, I think that's, what I have to offer is time and knowledge to help people make the transition, especially those um, who were working outside the home to working now in the home. And
Right.
then for those that were working in the home and now everybody's home, right?
Right.
So there's
So
so
tell
much to
people who
learn.
you are, though,
So
first.
I'm Theresa Cifali. I am the president of the Friday Morning White Plains chapter at 777 Westchester Avenue, one day again. I'm a productivity strategist and business coach, and I help my clients save time and make business easier. So I look at my clients holistically. So it's a lot more than just, putting systems and strategies into place or writing business plans or things of that nature. It's a lot more of, looking at your whole life, how everything's working together and how you can be more productive, which really is a combination of being efficient and more importantly, effective. So,
So,
yeah,
you and I just want to mention to everybody that you and I have been working together for, would you say it's 2 years now?
yeah, a couple
It's like
years.
2 years, couple years. And you actually were my productivity coach, and you are still my productivity. But really, the first time I ever worked with someone doing what you do, and I have to say, I think I met you when I first met you 2 years ago. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to use her. I don't know what we're gonna do. And you really took a hold of me, and you were like, okay, stop it. Like, okay, you
Isn't
need
that
to
what
do.
Chaz says all the time?
Yes, yes. He
Um,
says, stop it,
Stop
stop it,
it. I say it
stop it.
all the time. It's like the,
I
the
know.
first thing you need to do is just stop. Whatever you're
Yes.
doing, stop right now. Take a
Right,
couple deep breaths and let's figure out what works for you.
right.
I say my services are more bespoke. I have processes that I take people through and I have my own frameworks that I've developed, over the few years that I've been coaching. But really, we're each so individual as our thumbprints, right? What you need is different from what somebody else needs. And so my job is to figure out the best way that you work and what I can do to help you support that so that you can then um, take care of yourself. So,
Yeah.
not staying with me in a coaching capacity for a lifetime, but so that you learn the tools and the strategies that you need and the processes so that you can work on your own. Um,
Yeah. Well,
and
I think
that's
what
really
that's
the
what
purpose.
happened. Well, I
What's
think
that?
it's what happened. I think it's what happened with you and I is that we did, you got me straightened out, and then we went, we became just like friends. And then now I'm back in doing one of your, your coaching programs because I just know the value of it. But one of the things that I know that you can help everybody that's listening during this time when they're, they may be like, they may be working from home for the first time, right? Or they may be having worked from home, but now things are different. So I knew that I really wanted you to be the first one that I did a lunch and learn with because I know that it's a really good time to get people to stop it, right?
Right,
And to give them some tips as far as how to do this.
right. Well, at this point, most of us have been home for at least a week, right? My husband's a teacher. He's home. He they closed his school last week, and so he's home. My youngest is home, and now the energy in the house is different. And it took me even some time to readjust. And so we have that readjustment period, and you really have to give yourself a little bit of grace. And there are I think what I want to say is this: there are going to be people that are going to transition easier than others. And that's normal and it's okay. But even if you're doing it okay and you think you're doing a great job transitioning, I'm going to share some practical advice today that you may be able to go and implement yourself. And the other thing that I tell anytime I teach or train, this is not about saying, okay, tomorrow I'm going to be different, right? We were kind of forced into different um, by the circumstances of, this virus that's going around. And it's only because of this great technology that we have available to us that we have solutions. There are solutions out there. So
Right.
like we can focus on the problems or we can start looking for solutions, right? So there's always a solution. You just have to be a little bit creative. But let's start right now with some of the basics. So I have just 4 quick things that I'd like to share with people when it comes to starting to think different about your situation at home and when you're working. And the first thing to do is to create a schedule for yourself. It's really important. You have habits, and whether you think you had a schedule or not, or you thought you had a lot of flexibility in your business, you still had a schedule. So like just the act of getting up in the morning and taking a shower and brushing your teeth, and you got up at a certain time and you had to be somewhere at a certain time, and now that's gone. So it's really easy to get into well, I'll just sleep later. Maybe I'll take a shower later, and then we stay in our pajamas all day, or we throw on sweats. For the ladies out there who need to feel like, like I'm home all the time, but I do what feels good to me, right? I get up, I get ready for work, even when I'm working at home. So one of the things that you can do is absolutely get your schedule back. If you were getting up at 7 or 6 or 8 in the morning for work, it's really important, especially now, to get back into doing that routine. Get up, take a shower, get dressed and ready to shoes for work. If you're someone that doesn't wear shoes in your house, order a pair of shoes online that are just shoes for your house. Putting shoes on actually makes a huge difference. I know it sounds ridiculous,
No,
but it
you're
doesn't.
right. I'm thinking
It's
about it. I'm thinking about it because on the times that I do, you're right. But again, you want it to be something that, isn't going on the outside and coming in.
right, especially
But
now.
yeah,
So like, it's like whatever it is, it's like I don't care if you take
it's
one pair
so
of shoes and
funny.
clean the soles, just put your shoes on. It
Yep.
makes a huge difference in your mindset and how ready you feel. So also you want to make sure you're scheduling breaks. You want to take a lunch break. You want to make sure that you're, have an end time also, right? There's one of my favorite laws is Parkinson's laws, which Parkinson's law states that a task expands to fit the amount of time we'd allotted for it. So
Mhm.
if you don't, like if you plan to end your day at 5, then your day will end at 5. If you don't set an end time, you'll creep into 6, 7, 8, or 9 or later.
Yeah,
So you
absolutely.
got to be careful not to be doing that. So one of the ways that you can start to feel a little bit better about what you're doing, and I want to point this out too. I think what we all are feeling right now is out of control, right? But control is a myth. We're actually in control of very, very little. And by getting your schedule back, that self-imposed schedule
It's something
will
you can control.
help you feel a little bit more in control.
Yes.
Um, so that's one. The second thing is having a dedicated space.
Oh,
So
yes.
when you were leaving your house to go to work, you had a dedicated space in your office. Now that you're home, you might feel like sometimes you're working on your couch, sometimes you're not getting out of your bed, and you're working from in the bed. You're finding a comfy chair. Maybe it's the dining room table, but you always have to move your stuff. Just find one same space. Even though you're not leaving the house and physically going to work, you're still going to work. So by creating the habits around the schedule and then having the space where when I go here, I don't care if it's a snack table or if you have like a card table that you can throw in the corner of a room or even in your bedroom or somewhere you can close a door. Just have the same space. When I am there, my mindset is working. So you're actually going, getting ready, going and having breakfast if that's what you normally do, and then going to work.
So not really having it all in the same space.
No, you need to have like different places. I mean, I know there are people out there that never
I
leave their
mean,
desk when they go to work. They eat at their desk and do everything. But like if you're used to going out for lunch, on these beautiful nice days, if you can go sit on a blanket in your yard or um
well, right now it's snowing,
right now it's snowing, right? Who
the
would have thought
size
it's
of
70 on Friday?
yeah, and that's it's snowing the size of dinner plates out there right now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
also, I wanted to mention, no, some of us in Master Networks have multiple children at home now. They might even have to be teaching those children or making sure the children are doing their schoolwork. I mean, do you just still suggest to try to, when you can, carve the time to get away from that, or scheduling that, putting kids
Well,
in different rooms? How do
just
you?
like, well, we could have a whole other
Yeah, I
conversation
know, I know.
about how to work with kids at home. And it runs the whole gambit with, whether you have little ones or you have older ones. Like my 19-year-old is home from college. And she needs me for different things. Or she falls back in old habits. Like, for example, she texted me the other day at, I don't know, it was like 11:30 or 12 o'clock. I'm hungry. I'm like, good for you. Go, there's food. Go make yourself something. Right.
Wow. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. I
If
can't even
if she,
imagine. Yeah.
if she was still at school, she would have made herself something to eat and not texted me that she was hungry. So, we get back into comfortable habits. And just as much as you need a schedule, so do your kids. So they also have habits and routines where they're getting up, they're they're getting on, they're having breakfast and getting dressed and going on the school bus and going to school, and then they have a structure and a schedule at school. Now all that's gone and it feels like it's vacation. But and the system right now is everybody's doing something a little different in every school district, and there's been no plan. So now
Right.
now you're a teacher, right?
Yeah.
So you've become a teacher. You need to get your kids on a schedule. And so let's say you have, for example, you have two places where you can eat meals. If you have a kitchen where you can eat, and then you can like have a separate dining room where you can like just make a school table where maybe you sit down to work and your kids sit down to work, but they should be on a schedule also. Um,
I think that's what it comes down to. I think that you have to somehow then find out ways to marry the schedules where
You
you're,
do.
you
Everybody
know,
gets putting the kids on the same type of schedule or staggering their schedule if you need to sit with them, right?
yeah.
Where there's and you got to be a little bit lenient too. Maybe there's a little more TV time than you usually have. If you're home with your spouse and you have kids, you can also switch off where you're getting off for a couple hours to go maybe in the corner of your bedroom to get some work done, and then you're going to switch and help with the kids, right? If you have older kids, this is now a time to employ. I don't want to hear anybody saying that they can't. You most certainly can. Our kids are amazing. And I don't mean my kids, I mean children in general. They're just little people who haven't had as much experience. Have not maybe has they're not there cognitively, but you can speak to your kids in age appropriate ways to help them understand why you're working from home and the importance of putting on a schedule.
I
I
want to
think
mention
we have
one,
a whole other opportunity here.
I was thinking about that because we want to move on because we have two more, but I want to say one thing that we just want to be mindful of, that some people, that are entrepreneurs in Master Networks and beyond, they may have spouses that are, first responders, or they may be in the medical field, and they could be under incredible stress, especially, now you've got, that stress, you've got the kids at home, they're trying to run their own business. So I think we just want to say, like, these tips are just general tips. Everybody's got their own, situation. We want to be mindful, and we're like, absolutely can't imagine and thankful for all of those medical personnel that are out there and doing what they're doing.
Absolutely. Everybody's going to handle their stress a little bit differently.
Right.
Even if you have, like, I have a friend whose spouse is a medic. My neighbor across the street is a doctor and she's going in and out, or, her husband's working from home. So it's
That's a whole
important.
nother schedule,
Right.
right?
So, but it's not even about the schedule. I have a couple of neighbors nearby who are nurses. My mom now is working from home, but worked in a hospital, and she's a medical social worker, and she's 75. So she's
Wow.
only been working from home now for a couple
God
weeks.
bless her.
So, but the thing of the matter is that even with the stress, some creating a schedule for yourself, even with that going on, can really help reduce it. Um, and the schedule can just be, okay, from this time, I'm going to go for a walk, of course, on a nice day, right? Or this, from this time to this time, I'm going to read. Um, you know, because not everybody is working either. There's just so many different ways we can go.
Yeah.
Um,
So, that kind of segues into the next one that you were telling me about, which was communicating.
this is the most important thing that you can do in your household. I learned this really early on. Um, in another business when I was at the height of my workaholic state, where I was working 16 to 18 hours a day, and I would bark at anybody that would interrupt me from working. I couldn't even enjoy a holiday or a vacation. I just worked 24/7, 365. It was out of control. And it was really at that time that I learned the importance of communication. So I communicated before we went on this call, Tina, to my husband and my daughter, who are wandering through the house right now. My husband was cleaning upstairs. He was like taking apart the bathroom, and I let him know, at this time I'm going to be doing this. And then I reminded him before I came on. I usually put a note on the door. I told my daughter, because she'll tend to just like open up the door and walk in here.
Right.
So communicating, and I'm not talking about complaining about all the things that are irritating you. You're gonna have to pick and choose your battles, right? Being angry that somebody left a dish in the sink, which was like my thing, isn't it's just silly when you stop and reframe it, right? So like my husband used to drive me nuts, right? Like when I would say to myself, okay, he's not standing at the sink going, haha, I'm going to leave this in the sink to annoy the crap out of her. Like
Yeah.
those things are just not happening. Everybody is just dealing and being who they are. So communicating, letting people know ahead of time what your plan is, right? So like if, for example, if you are both parents home with small children, and you're taking the first shift, one spouse is going to take the first work shift, where they're going to go off into a secluded place in their house, and they're going to work for a couple of hours. The other spouse will be in charge of keeping the kids at bay, right, away from the work environment, so they can really just focus in, right? And
Right.
then switching. But you can't do that unless everybody is communicating with each other, right?
Right.
And
It's
then the
almost like okay, everybody. It's like on a volleyball team, right? You're rotating in and
you
out.
can rotate, but like you can't make the schedule like that unless you communicate with the people in the house. If
Right.
something's
What your needs
upsetting
are.
you, instead of letting it sit and fester, always make sure you're calm first, whether you're going to take some nice deep breaths, which absolutely 100% works when you're feeling a little anxious. Just those really nice deep breaths, and like calm, making sure you're calm and you're not speaking angry, and being clear about what it is that's bothering you, and not just that, but also here's what you can do to help,
Help
right?
each
Because
other.
right. So like this is really bothering me. Here's some things that would really be helpful in helping reduce that stress for me.
One of the things that helped, even though my kids are almost grown and they're still in the colleges where they are staying in place at the colleges that they're at. They when they were here, and certainly we still continue this with my husband and myself. That's on Sunday nights. We actually decide, like, okay, take your calendars out. What do we need to do this week? Been doing that for like the last couple of years, but that's been really helpful to have almost like a family meeting.
A family meeting, a family calendar, and also like, when you're creating a schedule, like especially if you have little ones at home, where you want to give them a little bit of structure, having a couple of game nights and a movie night, so that like at the end of your work day, right? If you're ending work at 5, Nobody works after 5 unless, you're staggering your hours, and you've
You have to.
agreed. It's not like you're going to work a 15-hour day. You're going to work a couple hours in the morning, time off, couple hours, time off, couple hours after the kids have gone to bed. But making sure that you're spending time with your kids, because your energy completely, gets absorbed by your children. So if you're feeling out of control, you can probably see it in your kids. So if
Right.
you're
It's kind of
feeling frightened, your kids can sense that. So
right.
making sure that you're trying to reduce your stress, the schedule, having the dedicated space and communication helps to remove the distractions. You can't remove them all, but you can remove a good chunk of them.
Right. And
So
number four, we already talked about, which was not
we
working
did
24/7.
24/7. Let your work time be your work time. There's it now's a time to really be creative, right? So, there's people out there in the universe right now looking to solve problems that we weren't prepared for and could never have anticipated, right? Or we thought about them, we didn't do anything about it. Now's a great time to be creative. There is no wrong way to do it. The right way is whatever works for you and your family. And it doesn't matter what other people think, what other people say. If you find a system for your family that really works with the scheduling and how to work out your spaces, not everybody has an extra room. I'm grateful I have an office in my house and I can close the door, but not everybody has that. So you have
Right.
to find those things. They're temporary. This is going to be your new normal for a little while. So make the best of it by, you know, just doing those most important three things: creating the schedule, having the space, making sure you're communicating. And also, why don't just to add a little extra one in there, make sure you're doing something fun for yourself. If
Yeah.
there's something that you want to learn how to do, or you like to read, now get a Kindle subscription. You can read them on your computer. You don't even need the Kindle tablet to read any books online, or get an Audible account for a couple of months. And,
Yeah, those
you
are
know,
excellent suggestions. I mean, I really like that because it takes my mind off, even if it's just while I'm eating lunch. I'm not thinking about, the news or what's going on in my business. Sometimes I just need to like, shut down and just read a little bit or listen.
oh
Um,
yeah, nobody should be listening to the 24-hour news cycle.
well,
If you find that your
some
mind's
people
like,
do. Yeah.
your anxiety is going like this, and your
Turn
stress
it
level is going
off.
like this, and your mood is going like this, turn it off. Nobody's telling you not to check and keep up with what's happening, but to watch, you have to keep in mind, like, the media is about money. This is business. They need to keep you watching for their sponsors. So, if you work in journalism, I don't mean any disrespect or any harm, but
Oh, we're gonna get
this
some
is
comments. No, I'm kidding.
which is fine. But it's like
No,
the
that's fine.
drama. It's drama. It's like um it's like watching any series, dramatic series, comedic series. Like, you watch a comedy on,
Well,
you
it's
have
people
to
are
watch. You
well,
have to
yeah,
watch
people
next
are
week.
people are binge watching, and they have the ability to do that, which they never had before. But I want to ask you something. So you're doing something also in a few days that you're going to be. Tell us about that.
I am on Wednesday. What is today? Today's the 23rd. On Wednesday, the
This is actually going to come out. We're going to actually going to post this on Tuesday, the 24th.
24th. So on Wednesday, the 25th at 10 a.m., I am I'm not doing the whole sign up thing. I'm just opening my Zoom room for 1 hour, and I'm going to share some tips and some tools
Hmm.
that people can use to help them work more productively at home.
Okay, so they're going to be different than what we talked about
It's
today,
going to be
or
different from what we talked about today. Some of those
okay,
things may overlap because they'll probably come up in conversation.
right? I understand.
But we're going to talk about some actual tools that people can get and use to help them, accomplish certain things. We're going to talk about being more organized with your files, for example, on your computer, right?
Oh boy, I need that.
We're going to talk about different calendar tools, and maybe a
Hmm.
couple of project management tools. And
Right.
what was the other one? conferencing software. So there's other options besides Zoom. So,
Okay, great.
uh-oh, I hit my mic. Did you hear
That's
that?
okay. Yes, that's okay. Sounded like janitor in a drum. So I
And
just
and
wanted to,
I'll also share some screencasting software that's going to be easy to use if you need to.
great. I'll be there. So you'll actually give me the link so that I can put it in the comment section of this post.
Absolutely. As soon as we're
And
done here.
and when we're done, we'll get that together. So I just want to say thank you. You've been so helpful to me. I don't this 30 minutes that we're spending, it just doesn't really even scratch the surface of what you're able to do for entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, solopreneurs, you know, people working out of their home, people who are starting businesses. So I just, I really want to say thank you for your help personally to me, to Master Networks as a leader that you are of the Friday group. And that group is expanding and people, it's just your energy because people want to be around you. And I think that more and more people need to know who Theresa Cifali is.
Thanks, Tina. I am really grateful that I'm able to do this and be helpful.
Well, you are, and I'll put your contact information in the when I post it, and that link to your workshop. So thank you so much. I really appreciate for coming on and having lunch with me. Although we didn't have lunch, it's metaphorically.
Yes, metaphorically lunching. Hopefully everybody else is enjoying their lunch while they're working.
Exactly. All right. Thanks. Thanks, Teresa.
Okay.
Appreciate it.